progress. It's something certain until that surface. Like one step, two step, until that new step gets me on purpose. It'll all be worth it, 'cause I'm in process, a work in progress. It's something certain until that surface. Like one step, two step, until that new step gets me on purpose. It'll all be worth it, 'cause I'm in.
What's up? Welcome to episode 2 of the Creative in Process podcast. Like, this is amazing. I can't believe we're already at episode 2. It may seem like, girl, just episode 2, that's not a lot, but trust me, you have no idea. It has been literally a process. I hope y'all enjoyed the theme song. Just in case you didn't know, you can hear the entire song on all streaming platforms, wherever you listen to music, and check out the little music visual for it and all the things. So we got an official theme song, and I hope you connect with the lyrics. I'll be jamming out to it, and hopefully you'll have these lyrics embedded in your head and you'll be singing it all the time, and it'll be great. So all of that being said, thank you so much again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed episode 1 and are sending me your feedback so that I can, definitely absorb that and take it into consideration and all of that, and get some questions on air soon too. So remember, I'm gonna put that tagline here that's gonna always be in the show notes in the description. Go to creativeprocess.com, and there you can submit your voice note where you can give feedback, you can ask a question, bring up a topic, all that stuff, and we can dig into it and bring it forth in future episodes, anonymous or not, whatever you prefer. Like I said in episode 1, there are a few different segments and things and themes that I want to incorporate into the podcast episodes. I'm going to kick off this episode with one of them, and I wanted to share some quotes from some artists that I admire, some creative individuals that I look up to and who have just, said some profound things, because a lot of times, like whether they're singers, rappers, or whatever, yeah, they got bars and they put out some intentional stuff in their content and whatever they make, but a lot of times just having conversations with them or just hearing what they have to say in general is just as profound. So sometimes I'll quote some lyrics, sometimes I'll quote just, from an interview or something like that. But I think today's quote is going to take us into a few different places with this episode in general and what I want to talk about today. So this quote is from the amazing, the legendary, the iconic Andre Benjamin / Andre 3000, one of 2 members of the legendary group Outkast, which is one of my favorite and one of my greatest inspirations in my musical journey. This is actual direct quote from him. Cool is not just one type of cool. Cool is confidence in knowing, like, what you are and being fine with it. Some people can be what people call nerds, and they're cool because they know they're nerds. They know what they are, and they're so confident in knowing what they are that makes them cool. And somebody aspires to be like them because they're fine with it. It's confidence, So that quote is really powerful to me, or that statement that he was saying, like, basically, like, the world may consider something whack or lame, or society can define something as not the thing. But if you walk in it and you're confident in it and you stand in it, it doesn't matter what people think, because it is who you are, and you're, kind of journeying through that part of your identity. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that identity point. When it comes down to being who you are and like going through this journey, I know for me, and like I said in the previous episode, if you watch my project Inside Out, like I talked about that, like how I was trying really hard to be in several different places, trying to become all these things that were popular and that were working. And then put a little bit of myself in there, but not really fully diving into who I'm supposed to be, because I didn't know if it was going to be good enough. I didn't know if it was going to work. And because I felt like a little bit of an anomaly, meaning that I didn't see a lot of me. I didn't see a lot of myself or examples of who I thought I was. And it made me very insecure. It made me very insecure because I'm like, well, ain't nobody else doing this, so what do I look like trying to do it? People are gonna think it's weird, whatever. And that's just anything, just me showing up the way that I am or how I am, and that sort of thing. So it was hard for me to really be unapologetic about the way that I was and all of that. Even though I didn't know to be anything else, I tried. I tried to like, even all the way down to like from singing. I would sing to try to sound like people, not realizing that my voice was unique and it didn't work. Like I would try to sing, popular songs and all of that kind of stuff, and it really wouldn't land because I was trying so hard to sound like the original artist instead of putting my own spin on it. Or I just kind of felt like I always stuck out like a sore thumb everywhere I went, not realizing that that was not a bad thing. I was just making it a bad thing. And people in their own insecurity will make you feel like you're different is a problem. Though I've had plenty of situations, and this is not just me showing up to sing and perform. This can be, or this has been, even with relationships, friendships, like me walking into a room being who I am is off-putting because everybody else is doing this, and then you come in doing that, and so it looks like you're against what other people are doing when that's not the case. You're literally just being confident and sure of who you are. So I struggled with that a lot in a lot of different ways, and it wasn't just musical. It was just like me being, my own person, finding it hard to rest in who I was. As creative people, that's something we got to be really careful of, because especially nowadays we got AI, which the only AI I'm interested in is Allen Iverson, if I'm honest. If you know, you know. But like this digital world where everything can be perfected and made into this amazing thing, but it's all super artificial at the same time, and just letting culture dictate what should be acceptable and what shouldn't, and robbing people of the opportunity or the duty, really, the responsibility to show up as themselves and walk out as themselves. But it's a really dangerous place to be in, especially when you're creative and you're independent creative and you're trying to pay bills, fam. So it's like, I could go do this and do it my own way in my own unique structure, but this over here, this popular way that everybody's doing, it's working. People making money, they doing this, so let me try to go over here and try this out. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of focus, and like you have to just be really centered in on your purpose, because it's very easy to go the easy way. If I wanted to today, like there are obviously many things that I want to do in my career, where I want to go, heights that I haven't reached and all of that. And there are ways, just from my experience and being in the industry and working in certain areas, I know how to get what I want. I know how to get there. The difference or the issue with that is there's a way to get there that is not in alignment with the way I'm supposed to get there. It's not purposeful to me. And I wouldn't, it's not any specific thing, but there's some ways I can finesse some opportunities. I could tweak this song and say it a certain way, or mention or talk about certain things to kind of get me a leg in where I want to go. But you do that, and then you find yourself in this place of success, whatever you kind of came up with it in your head, only to find yourself less fulfilled because you got there kind of illegally. And I don't mean illegally as far as like the actual law on paper, but like it's illegal because you're robbing yourself of your true purpose, your true journey in life that you're supposed to be on to get to that place. So I think that a lot of us as creatives need to be mindful of that. Yes, it's harder to do it your own way because you have to navigate, you have to discover so much, and it's easier to just, look up the best and easiest way to do this thing and then go do it that way. But if your journey is supposed to be one way, then you can't, you can't do that. Like even with the theme song, which y'all are going to learn at some point, I promise, the theme song to this podcast, there's a line in one of the verses that says, I wish I had the manual to flip to the part where it feels the best. But if I did, how would I get the method that I need for next time in less time? So when we allow ourselves to go through a process, and we do it the way that we need to so that we can get those lessons in between, when we finally reach that place, there's so much more beauty there. There's so much more purpose there. There's so much more that you can even do because you didn't compromise and settle or sell yourself short for an opportunity. So not to say that every single thing that you ever do is going to be hard, it's going to take forever, and it's going to be a struggle, and it's going to be stressful. Not the case, but there are certain things that you have to just be mindful. You have to check yourself at every point to say like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pursue this thing. I'm going to work on this project. I'm going to do this. But is this the right way? Is this the right time? Am I connected to the right people, or am I just taking advantage of an opportunity just to get it done? So I think all of that needs to be considered. And on top of that, no one is going to really, maybe for a moment, you can have some successes, but when you think about people that you truly look up to, who you feel, whatever your level of success is, if you feel like they've reached that success, those people very likely didn't do it because, or by way of not being authentic to who they were in their own, putting their own plan of action together and being their unique self. They're not necessarily copying. Now, we get inspiration from everything, so there's that, but the people that you feel like are doing the thing aren't doing it because they're just like mimicking every single thing. And if you do feel like they are successful, because there is a caveat to that, where you see artists of whatever discipline thriving in certain fields, but it's like they don't even, have no passion. They just doing it because, it's a, quick way to get money or whatever. One of the things that really, 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 it really frustrates me, where I see like interviews of artists, like newer artists that maybe just kind of blew up seemingly overnight. And they'll say things like, yeah, I didn't even want to be a singer or a rapper or whatever. I was just in the studio one day and, I had a drink or a cup of water on the table. I knocked it over and I said, ah, and then they had recorded the track while I was saying that. So then it was like, hey, run that back. And I said, ah, and then we turned it into a song and now it's got 8 billion streams on YouTube. Like that kind of stuff drives me nuts, because it's like, you don't even want to be here, but you just took advantage of an opportunity. And it's like, no knock to you, get your money, get your bag, but you have no purpose. Like there's no purpose in what you're doing. You're just doing it, and eventually it's gonna fade away. It's gonna fall off. And there are so many artists that seem to be like, well, we call them like one-hit wonders or whatever. Not to say that every one-hit wonder that was what they were doing, because there's some really quality people that just didn't get the push and the acknowledgement that they deserved. But sometimes, especially in today's world, everyone's just fighting to like do that thing that's gonna like blow them up, and they don't care whether or not they want to do it. They're just doing it because it's like a way out for them. And so that's hard to see when you see people say something like, the thing that someone else is doing, that they eat, sleep, and breathe, that they love, that they're passionate about, I don't even want to do it, but I found a way to come up on some money, so I'm just going to act like it. I'm just going to play the role to get the check. Like that's, I don't like that. But anyway, to each his own. But in that, I just want to encourage, if I can, every creative person that feels like they are the only one like them, because we are all specific and unique in general. So nobody is alike. Even if you copy, you're still not, you can never be exactly the same as something else. Even if you try, it's going to always land you in a space where the truth is going to show up. The identity is going to pull you. It's going to prick at you, and you have to respond to that. And if you don't, then it's just living a life of, the stress of just feeling like you can't figure out where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to move, and all of that kind of stuff. So to my creatives, like, be okay with your version of cool. Like going back to that statement from Andre 3000, like find your cool, find what's cool to you, find what makes you cool, and walk that out. I'm grateful that early on I kind of found my footing to be able to say like, okay, I'm doing this, but there's more to me. There's more that I want to do. And I used to get to some degree almost shamed for like being a singer that writes, that produces, that designs, that can engineer my sessions, that knows equipment, that knows lighting, that knows stage, that knows production, that knows, all the management and all that kind of stuff. Like I used to feel bad, like, oh my God, I do all of this stuff. I know how to do all of this stuff. It's something that has helped me tremendously along my career, and it put me in a position to be able to have conversations with any type of in any type of industry or within any scope of what I do, because I know what I'm talking about to some degree. I'm always teachable, But I used to feel ashamed about that. I used to just tell people like, all I do, I just sing. And it's like, I don't really want to tell them that I write. I really don't want to tell them that I know how to do this or that I know how to do that, or, I don't want to tell nobody how to do their job type of thing, but I have the insight and the experience. And when I began to let that out, even working with people, if I'm working on a set and I'm doing a video shoot or something, like I've learned that like the videographers appreciate, like she knows what she's talking about. Like, okay, that's actually a good idea. She knows that she makes our job easier because she's knowledgeable of what she, wants and all that stuff. She can articulate what she wants. So I begin to get less and less apologetic about that. And it's a beautiful place now because I can just show up as myself and it's like, hey, yeah, I do that. I did that, all that kind of stuff. And not to bolster, to show off or to brag, but just to say like, I'm clear, like I am clear. So I would encourage every creative person, whatever you do, be okay with being clear on who you are and take the time to get there, because we don't walk into who we are just like that. Like we discover it along the way. We're always going to be discovering more and more to it, but there's a level and a point in a place where we get more confident and we get to a point where we can articulate who we are clearly and all of that. So that's the process of it all. So I encourage us all to continue to be open to processing through that and to find those elements of you that make you unique and grow them, because no one else can do it. Like you can tell people all day what your identity or your idea or your plan is, but there's something about you implementing what you're supposed to do that's going to hit different. Like you can never, like I can hand my ideas over to someone else, they can execute it beautifully, but there's something about when I do it, because we are created with a specific purpose, and what we have in us is very specific and unique, and it's actually people in the world that we're going to encounter that they're going to miss out if we don't do our part. There's a connection point that's supposed to happen. Like we're supposed to release this project or do this thing so that this person over here can randomly click on this button and come in contact with your music or your visual or whatever, and it's going to help them get to this point, or it's going to encourage them, or it's going to open a door for you. So there's something very specific and special about being who you are, specifically how you're supposed to be and authentically, and being okay with that and being confident in that and walking that out, because something's going to connect. And there's an example that I could give, and maybe for those watching the video, I'll put it on the screen. When I'm recording a song, there's something that I do in my recording process where I stack vocals. So if you record, you may know about this, but if you don't, let me just kind of paint the picture. So I can sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I would like to stack that several times, singing it the same way. We're not talking about harmony where I sing it higher or lower, but like singing it the same way at least 2 to 3 times when I'm recording so that it sounds fuller. Now, because we have more automated systems and technology, I could easily take that little line, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and just copy and then paste and then paste and then paste. But what happens is when you do that, it starts to get a little robotic sounding because you're copying something that has already been done. And when you do that, it gets less and less, it sounds less and less real. So what I do is I sing that line, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, over and over and over again, one by one. I sing it live because when you record, these little wave lines come. And even though I can make the sound very, very, very similar and close to the sound, it will literally never be the same again. Like you can never duplicate a vocal sound the same exact way more than once. And that doesn't mean that it won't sound right or it'll be off key a little bit. I'm not saying that. Like the literal waves that form can never be, it's like a fingerprint. It can never be duplicated. So that says that each time I'm uniquely placing a sound, and when I place those sounds uniquely, it creates this warm or whatever, depending on what the song is, it creates this bigger, fuller version, and the song has more completion to it because of the way of that it was approached. So with that, everything that we do that comes from us, that we put out, is unique. It's only for us to do. If someone else copies it, it's gonna start to sound robotic and inauthentic and not real the more it happens and you do it. And that's why the whole AI thing, where like people are like recreating songs with simulated voices, it sounds robotic because you're copying someone else's identity, someone else's uniqueness, and what makes someone else who they are. So all of that to say, as we wrap up episode 2 of the Creative in Process podcast, I want to say to my creatives, dear creative, it is okay to be specifically you, authentically you, uniquely you, and don't apologize for it. Just take the time to discover what that is, because maybe you don't know, and that is okay. But because you don't know, don't go find something else that you know has worked for somebody else, because that's not you. Take the time to uncover what is specifically in you and what you're supposed to give out to the world, because if you don't show up as yourself, you're going to live your entire life and never see what you were supposed to be, and never be able to give what you were supposed to give. And the people that are supposed to receive and benefit from what you gave out will never see it. So there may be some healing that happens for someone. There may be some encouragement. There may be something that helps push somebody forward, or there may be a door that's supposed to open for you that will never open if you don't open your mouth and be who you are. So, dear creative, I say again, be yourself. Make it cool. Find out what makes you cool and be that. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Catch me on episode 3. And as always, you can go to the website, creativeandprocess.com. Follow all the pages and all that good stuff, and drop your voice note. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear your feedback on this topic and all of that. Drop your questions, your comments, all of that good stuff. And I hope you're enjoying the journey as we continue on with this project. And I will see you next time. All the best. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you want to learn more about the podcast, you can go to creativeinprocess.com, where you can sign up for email alerts, connect on social media, and submit your feedback, thoughts, and questions to have them included in a future episode. If you want to connect with me directly, you can find me at Nealand Music on all social media platforms. And please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell somebody about this podcast, because it only goes as far as you help it grow. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.